Israel's ambassador to the UK, Tzipi Hotovely, was rushed to her car under heavy security after a speaking engagement at the London School of Economics. Hotovely spoke for an hour and a half and answered questions, but protesters outside the event screamed at the ambassador as she left the building. I discussed this incident with Danny Danon, Israel's former ambassador to the United Nations, in our studio. Ambassador Danon, thanks for joining us. Is this a one-time incident, or do these kind of things happen to Israeli ambassadors on a regular basis?
Unfortunately, Chris, it's not a one-time incident. I myself visited hundreds of events on campuses, and I have seen similar attacks coming from anti-Semitic groups. The attacks are in the halls and outside the halls. The demonstrations are there. But the message is that we should continue to go to those places. We should speak up. We should represent our country with pride, and we should not allow those violent rioters to disturb us.
Ambassador Danon, could this be the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, of more anti-Semitism that's rising in the United States and even around the world?
So first, the facts speak for themselves. Anti-Semitism is on the rise all around the world, including the U.S. According to the recent FBI report, all over the U.S., we have seen an increase in attacks against Jews in the U.S., which is unfortunate, and especially on campuses. It's organized, it's orchestrated, and I think that the way to behave is to increase our presence on campuses, to work with our allies, Christian and Jewish groups on campuses. And when you have a demonstration, I would expect the local police to take action and not to rush the dignitary out of the hall. When I was at the UN for 5 years, I always made sure that when we go to a campus, we walk from the front door and we exit from the front door, proud and tall. And I can recall an event at Columbia University where there were hundreds of demonstrations outside the hall, and we continued with the event. We finished the event, and the message is that we demand and expect from the universities and the local police to take actions in order to allow the freedom of speech everywhere and for everyone.
Ambassador Danon, you talk about college campuses. Is this really one of the front lines of anti-Semitism right now in the U.S. and around the world?
It is the front line because we have seen a lot of investments from our adversaries, mainly the BDS movement. They put a lot of money and time in order to promote hate on campuses. Unfortunately, sometimes we see faculty members joining them. So we shouldn't be silent. We should take actions. We should come to the campuses, speak there, and empower the majority, the silent majority that has nothing against Israel. And by the way, Chris, most of those people who demonstrate against Israel, they have no clue about the topics, about the issues. When I was actually debating them during my speeches, and I asked them to come and have a debate, they had no clue about the issue. They come because they are full of hate against them. Many people, they have many reasons to hate everybody, but they have no clue about what's happening on the ground. Since
this is spreading around campuses and around the world, what's the solution, Ambassador?
I think first we should increase our presence on campuses. We should empower the pro-Israel groups on campuses, and we do have a presence there. And we should demand that the universities will allow more speakers come to present our. Now, when we speak about the London School of Economics, they hosted Gaddafi from Libya a few years ago. There were no major disruption for his speech. So we should demand from the universities, the same way they allow Gaddafi or Ahmadinejad came to New York a few years ago, they should allow dignitaries and ambassadors to come and present the truth.
Is this only for Israeli ambassadors? Are other ambassadors for other countries, are they attacked?
Well, usually you will see demonstration, but you will not see violence like we saw in the UK. You will not see the amount of hate like we saw, because that's the strategy of the BDS movement. They're violent, aggressive, and that is unique against Israel.
Final thoughts, Ambassador, of how this should be treated here in Israel as well. Do you see more advocacy groups to be able to take these positions on college campuses?
I can tell you that personally, I decided that after that incident that I would increase my presence on campuses. I call my colleagues to do the same. I think we should go out there. I was a student myself, and I remember when a dignitary used to come, it was the highlight of the year for us. So we should come and support the students. For us, it it's not a challenge to come for 2 hours for an event. But think about the students who have to deal with the hatred 24/7.
I understand. Well, Ambassador Danon, thanks for joining us on this very important topic about what's happening on college campuses and around the world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Grace.